Alright, so good evening guys. Today we'll we'll read some report about replanting same trees. Alright, so here we go. Replanting same trees cannot replace burnt forests. Camille Stevens Rumen recently sat on the ground and measured small trees to see how much they've grown in 7 months. She felt that grown 5 to 10 centimeters. The team had planted several different kinds of trees, known as evergreen. 2 years ago, in an area of the Rocky Mountains in Colorado, which had burned in a fire in 2020, Stevens Rumen and other researchers want to learn the relationship between tree growth and elevation. Researchers say there are not enough small trees or seeds from living trees to replace burnt trees, even if there were enough. They say the US does not have the workers to plant and, care for them. The Forest Service said the biggest delays they meet while replanting on the public land are preparing environmental and culture studies, preparing burnt areas today are safe to plant. That can take years. Stevens Rumen said, we're in a place of such drastic climate change that we're not talking about whether or not some of these places will be different first, whether or not they will be forest at all. In the past, the US are unable to replant burnt forests, but the researchers say larger, more intense fires are destroying trees that normally provide seeds. They say fires leave burn scars, so large trees cannot naturally regrow. Solomon Z. Drobrowski is a University of Montana forest management expert. He said more areas in the West need replanting after fires can be replanted. He said at least 1.5 million hectares need to be replanted, but officials are unable to do so. He said that number could triple by 2015. Matthew Hertel is a forest ecologist at the University of New Mexico. He studied the way scarred forests have been replanted after fire in 2011 at Los Contras. That fire destroyed huge areas of ponderosa pine trees. Hertel found most of the seedlings or very young trees had died from earlier replanting. As a result, he, re- he planted seedlings of different species at several elevation, elevation and on hillsides facing different directions. Now he's watching carefully for changes in soil and water. Researchers say seedling survival is less likely at lower elevations. It is hotter, drier, and more open there. Replanting the same trees in the same areas is likely to fail. Jason Sick is acting supervisor of the Arapaho and Roosevelt National Forest and Pawnee National Grassland. He said the Forest Service rules require planting the same species at the same elevations as before fire, but he said it's clear the agency will need to be flexible moving forward. For now, that might mean replanting at different elevations or collecting seeds from another place. Over time, researchers say it could require planting trees that are not native to the area. The idea has been debated, but is gaining support. I've seen people go from saying Absolutely, we cannot move trees around. 2. Well, let's try it at least, or do a few experiments to see if it will work, said Stevens Reman. Environmental groups are working on private land burned by the Cameron Peak fire. Oh, sorry. They are replanting ponderosa pine pines 150 meters higher than where they used to grow, said Megan Maiolo. What is it? Sorry. Said Megan Maiolo Heath. Maiolo Heath is a spokesperson for the coalitions for the Porter River watershed. So far, 84% of trees planted the last years are still alive. Forest Survive is modernizing how it grows young trees. It's also studying ways to grow more, work with private industry, states and groups like New Mexico Reforestation Center. Experts say trees might never return to some areas, but it's important that the US does as much as possible in a thoughtful way. Trees live for hundreds of years, so we need to thinking about what's right as we plant trees today. Hotel said. So that's the end of today's video, guys, and good night, everyone. See ya.